All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I am Jeremy. I will be leading the call today and answering whatever questions I have. We have one pre-submitted question from Brian Kim that we'll get to in just a minute. I'll give it a minute if anyone else will be joining. If you come up with any other questions or have anything to add, you can post those in the chat. And we'll get to Brian's question in just a minute. All right. All right, we can go ahead and get started then. So we have our one pre-submitted question from Brian Kim. It says, we're going to have a form where a user chooses their parameters that's going to hopefully filter a report in a page that we created. How would we do this? So this is a great question. I think I've got a pretty good grasp on what you're looking for, but I'll allow you to talk if you have anything extra you'd like to add.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. We don't really know how to filter a report on a page, so we'll have to see how that can be done.
Sure. So this is actually really neat. I'm just going to create a quick project. And we will build out something to work for this. Obviously we're going to create a page that we can put all this stuff on. And there's a couple ways that this can be done, but basically we got some report and we want this to be something that we can filter with. So I'm just going to create a quick report, and I'm just going to use our account data structure as an example here, because we got a number of fields that we can just throw in there. And I'll just pick out a couple things. We got email address, maybe created on date. Um, I'll just throw in last name too. I don't think any of my accounts, there's some accounts that have last names. All right, perfect. So we got some account. And so we want to filter this account. So we're going to actually just create a filter here. And you can create this filter based on whatever things you're planning on having it filter by. So let's say I want to add a filter about the email addresses. Maybe I want to allow people to make their selection based on an email address of some kind. And we'll just use just a simple email address contains as this example. But obviously you can kind of mess with the different options that you have here. But the idea is you want to create a filter, and on the runtime behavior of this filter, we have this option called get values from other reports. And so this is a great way to kind of receive your values. So if I have a report or something that's going to send a value through, as long as it matches this name exactly, it will pull from that item. And another thing that can be important for this, since we want to filter, is we want to show all the data when this filter is blank, basically. So if we have nothing that's going through this, if it's null, if we have this checked, then I can actually see all the data, which is another nice thing. So here, obviously, it's expecting a null email address, which I don't have anywhere. So it's not going to show any data. But if I have this checked, then I can kind of help filter that out. And so now I can look for specifically these things. And if it's null, then I can have nothing there. And so from this is kind of what I want. Another important thing about this, I don't know if you've used the get values from other reports concept at all. This name is very important because it has to match exactly. And so the more simple it is, the more likely it is to conflict with something else. So if I just made this name, right, it's very possible that you have another something else called name that might go through this. Also, if I'm adding like symbols or anything like that, like any special characters, that's probably more likely to cause issues. But something just simple that I'm not going to use anywhere else, um, and a name that I can remember or even just copy and paste so that I can keep this exactly the same. Because what I'm going to use later is what allows this to actually filter and change these values based on whatever I'm filtering. Um, let's just a little be careful with like spaces and special characters when you're doing this. Um, but let's say this will be what we'll base it off of for now. So we have our report. Now there's two ways that we can actually build this with two items that we can place on our page here. One of them is a form tile. So form tiles is kind of like a way to have a form like visually appear on your page. So you can have this form showing up here and you can build it from there. Another way that you can do it that works very similar is a flow run part. I'll show that as our example here. So this, either way, both of them have some kind of flow behavior that we can use to create the form and a step that we're going to need. But this is what I'm going to use just for this example. So we're going to create a flow that's going to contain some steps that are going to be pretty important here. So we're going to make our filter flow. And then in this is where we're going to have our form to start, right? So you said you've created a form that you're hoping to kind of add to here. So we can actually just attach this form or have this form right in this flow. And this flow run part will actually be running like when I open up this document and that form will appear in that space on the page. So I can actually have it directly on the page waiting for me.
So our form is coming from a different page. And it's so we basically have like a header that says like home page, and then we have like that report page, and we want the form pops up off of the flow and the home page, and then once the user is done with the form, it should pull up the report page, and we wanted the report to be filtered from that page. Does that make a difference?
It might be just like some minor adjustments. I don't think it should make that much of a difference. Because I think you can still adjust this, like adjust the flow um, to do what you want. Let me just build this out, and I think I'll explain what I think you could do uh, based on what your question was just
Good.
now. 'Cause I think I know what you mean. So let's just throw this together real quick. Okay. Um, and then I'm gonna make these optional just for demonstration. Let's just build this super quick, and then all right, so we got a form. Now this is the key step, and based on what you just described, that I think you might be able to just put this step after your form that you said that you're using, and that may be what you're looking for here. But let's say it's there's a step called set dashboard report parameters. And so we can set this as long as the names match, right? Like I described there in the filter. So I have this outputting my email address contains with the name that's exactly as I said it before. And I can add a report that has that exact name. Obviously, this is a string, so I can use it that, but you can select any data types that you want to work from here. Um, and then this input from the email address contains will just come from the output of my form. So set that to ignore, but this will output whatever they type, in this case type, but if maybe it's a drop down, it can still output the drop down or whatever items that they're adding or putting in this form. And this will take that input of that as an input here. And then the folder ID is going to be the ID of your the dashboard that where you have this set. So that's why I think this should work, no problem. Let me add this page to my to a dashboard real quick. That's not the right thing. Add page dashboard. And then I want to add my filter report page to it. All right, so this will be my dashboard. You see how the flow run part appears here, but if that's not where you're going to use, then you obviously won't have that here. Let's go back to finishing this flow real quick. Oh wait, I forgot the important thing. I need to get this ID. So if I know where my dashboard is, right, I can get the ID of that dashboard, provided it's not going to change, and just use that as a constant input on the folder ID. Because this is just looking for what is the dashboard that I'm expecting to make this change to, right? And then in this case, you would probably just, send this to your next steps on the flow. Since I'm building this in my page, I want this as like a persisting item sitting on my like sitting in that like page there. So I'm just gonna let it keep kind of going. But then if I use this and I type in an email, let's say I want my email address to contain manager, and I hit filter, it's gonna run that flow and it's gonna refresh and set the filter on this dashboard to contain that particular email. And then if I clear the filter, I don't have anything in there because I set that setting to allow null results. Then I can kind of reset it and allow it to fill out. So then, yeah, if I run it like this, then it should work.
For
In
our case,
regards,
do we need like a filter button?
yeah, so in your case, if it's just coming after, like this is based on the design that I just kind of created. We actually have the doc site shows this as well. Obviously, this is like a form that's going to be kind of persistent in that page. In your case, you don't have that, so you would likely have right. It's like a submit button or something on your form, and you just want that to go and bring up your dashboard, right?
Yeah.
Like there, it's closing the form, brings up the dashboard.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would think you can show your form, right? You got your filter form. It'll just have like a submit button or whatever. And then you can still do that dashboard step afterwards. If I could spell, and I still can't spell. Right. And then upon clicking their submit button or whatever, I can still set this up in the same exact way where I want it to filter the report. I want to set my report parameters to match the correct item with whatever input. It'll still take the inputs from my item here, and then it'll display my, obviously you might not even have this. I'll just leave it unattached. And then from there, it'll just open up the report, right? So, or open up the dashboard. Um, if that's gonna work. Hmm. Yeah, I was hoping it would maybe just refresh the dashboard automatically. I don't know if it's gonna do that. At least not this way. Let me just remove this in case that's conflicting. Hmm. 1 second. There's got to be something here. Try. I don't know if sending a change to this folder will affect it or not. I don't know if that affects, I know it can affect items within a report. Don't know if that affects filters. No, it didn't change anything there either. That's the right item. I don't think I have anything. I might just be missing something purely out of inexperience here. Just want to make sure these names are the same and not different. No, there's nothing different there. Want me to do this? Yeah, I feel like I might just be missing something. This may just maybe require a little bit extra fidgeting around to see what I'm missing here. Um, but there definitely should be a way to change that. Because I know, like I said, the setting the, like what I just set up here, send send folder change event is usually, I know it can be done but it's usually more for like changing, like if I remove this account, it'll automatically refresh this, things like that. Um, that's typically what that does, but I'm not sure if I'm just missing something that's needed for this. If you'd like, um, to put your uh, email in the chat for me, I can send you just a follow-up if I can make sure, because I feel like I'm just missing something. Just in case, I don't want to leave you with nothing. Obviously, I know it works if you have the form in the page, but if you want to have it before the page, I might just need to do some quick testing and see if I can figure out what I'm missing here, if that's all right.
Yeah, that works. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know when you could get back to me about that by?
I can get working on it. Like, I'll definitely start taking a look at it right away.
Okay, sounds good.
And I might just uh ask a colleague and see if they have any um extra input.
Sounds good.
Sure. Anyone else here today have any other questions? All right. We have nothing else. I think we can end for the day. If you guys have anything else, please let us know. We're always happy to help. And tomorrow we'll have Robert leading our lunch and learn. So, hopefully we'll see everyone and have some questions tomorrow. Thank you.